In July of 1518, Frau Trophia and her daughter Fraulein Emmagutz danced their way into the streets of Strasbourg. No music to accompany the pair's writhing footstomp to jagged arm twist into spam imitating waltz. The twitches slammed body against floor and wall, spreading from movement to strangers' eyes to copycat uncensored estampe. These newcomers to the dancing plague spread the infection to more members of the community. They too succumbed to blood-pooled shoes, heart attacks, and exhaustion. 15 dancers a day would die. The plague came to an end after rituals occurred in front of the saint of dancing, and the remaining survivors were taken to a mountaintop for prayer. Speculation claims many corners of modern conversations around the event. There is no fully agreed upon source of the choreomania, nor agreed upon cure, only the hope that it is not to be repeated. Good evening, caller. Please state your full name in relation to the horror.
Hi, I am Jody Schmidt, and I'm a survivor of the St. Vitus Club massacre.
Very few details ever emerged from the event. I'm curious as to what took place beyond childish conspiracies.
Yeah, the Berlin police even told me in the investigation that they had no idea what to say to the journalist.
It was attributed officially as poison alcohol, no?
That I should have been dead too. Hell, might have been a better way to go for the others.
It is sad when something one looks forward to evolves into tragedy.
I must have been the only person there who didn't look forward to that night.
Oh. For what reason did you participate in the opening? It was a rather exclusive affair.
My boyfriend was a DJ. I was living in Berlin at the time because of him, actually. We met on a Kontiki tour in Thailand. He was a Berlin German and I was a Florida girl. Berlin was good to us. I mean, it had the arts aspect for me and the clubs for him. When he landed the gig, he had immediately invited all of our friends. He treated it like a wedding. Not just our close friends, but the friends' brothers, girlfriends, cousin type of deal. I was happy for him. Night after night in small dingy clubs with no names didn't make him happy. But this big opening was something he smiled about. He went into the club earlier. He had to do sound checks and test out what he called the crowd vibe. He called me from the back room with news. The crowd was more in line with his psychedelic music, so he's going to wear the mantis mask.
He owned different masks for different sets.
Yes, he would change the light shows depending on the crowds, and the persona behind the mask would shift too. That night he said it was the hunchback mantis type crowd. I arrived with all our friends, but I was only really friends with Mateo and Joanna. The others were Anton's...
Friends, brothers, girlfriends, cousin.
Yeah. The line outside was long, but Anton's name got us in quick. The inside was a clash of worlds. Green lights flashed against the walls. Some projected shadows of praying mantises dancing. One of them had a female eating the head of a mate. But the inside was decorated with pointed arches leading from the hallway to the main room, and gargoyles staring at the dancers. Behind Anton, posed like the hunchback of Notre Dame with his mantis mask, were stained glass windows depicting Salome's dance for King Herod from the Bible, made to be more Berlin with black goth outfits replacing biblical robes. Everyone formed their own little dancing groups. Me, Mateo, and Joanna went into a corner. A guy came up to Mateo and they danced away. But Joanna stayed with me. She laughed a little at my awkward 1-2 step, tried to teach me what she dubbed not terrible dancing. I was getting the hang of it, but a guy came with blue eyes and a brown stubble, and suddenly her attention was elsewhere. I swayed to the songs I've heard too many times before, alone like too many times before. The club already looked different from any other one Anton had played walking in, but when it was just me, the pointed-down gargoyle stared at me with stone-carved smiles. The stained glass forced my eyes to indulge in its hobdevil and robed monk whispering into King Herod's ears while he pointed to the club ceiling. Half mirror, half fresco, golden calf sucking teats from red-eyed cows. A new song I never heard played. It was more melodic than the usual psychedelic sounds, like a hand from the past guiding it to poorly imitate Beethoven's slow piano keys and off-tuned 60s guitars. There were no violins, but screeches of violin bows on metal machinery. No EDM, but thuds like bodies falling to the floor in war. The dancing dissolved into jerking heads farther than necks should allow, cracks of vertebrae as heads tossed side to break neck side. One girl next to me convulsed me with stomping feet into the wall, her eyes PCP blank. That was enough for me. I would apologize to Anton in the morning or something, get him a bacon bagel or whatever. I just had to get out. I tried to stop dancing, but the song started over. My arms kept swinging. I tried to rest my legs. They stomped harder. Joanna was 3 or 4 or even 5 feet away, I don't know. Her heels were broken with blood oozing out of cracked toenails and flayed heels. The guy in front of her, hands digging into her hips, were purple and black marks surrounded scratching nails. I twitched my arm into waves for Anton, screamed my throat into dry agony, but he didn't even look in my direction. His mask must have blocked his view. He followed the crowd's lead with arm pumping into the air and almost dislocating from its socket. Spazzing towards the stage, the crowd grew thicker around me. The dancing melted into thrashing arms and feet hammering into other people's knees. My movements descended into whirling arms and toes scraping through the soles of my shoes. 2 large men in bloodied shoes and bloodied shirts lurched in front of me, eyes the red of the fresco. "You can't help him," the one on the left said as he leaped into the air, down on his knees. Each time higher up, each time harder down. The other man bone waltzed on his broken knuckles. I danced to the side and convulsions ripped from his body from one side to the next. He fell down. He got back up and danced again. He cried, "Please don't." I jumped up the stage. I ripped off Anton's mask. He was crying under there, his hand on his laptop, cueing the same song with 4 clicks every second. His right arm is dislocated from his shoulder at this point, but still violently thrashing above his head. "Please, Jody. Go," he begged. I tried to wring his arm away from the computer, but the crowd surged forward like a tsunami. I stepped back. They stopped. A girl in the front row clambered onto the stage. Headbang hair covered face, elbows shooting out to the side, then again and again. She stepped closer, then fell on her back. Breathed heavy and shallow while her body seized up. She had her mouth open, and I could see as she swallowed her tongue. She never got up. Blood pooled in Anton's shirt where his shoulder and arm met. "Get help, Jody," he screamed. I tried again, stupid, to get his finger away from the computer or just do something about the computer. 2 more girls got up on stage, shaking their bodies until foam leaked out of their eyes. First the blonde, then the brunette fell. The blonde's chest kept heaving a little while longer than the brunette's.
You mentioned earlier the 2 men had red eyes, such as depicted in the fresco. On the stage, could you identify any other person in the room reflecting the same eye color?
No, I don't think so. They maybe could have been wearing contacts. I didn't see them again. It was a big crowd.
Jody, focus for me, okay? Do you remember anyone not dancing?
I'm getting to that part.
My apologies. Please continue, Miss Schmidt.
The blonde stopped breathing. I was still snapping my spine in what could hardly be called dancing, but not as violent as the others. The other people were bashing their heads into the wall with the beat or kicking their toenails off while screaming lyrics.
I thought the song had no lyrics.
It didn't. But for a second, the music stopped. Anton. I stopped dancing. They all trembled forth. "Bitte meine Liebchen," he said. Hands reached for me. Hands deprived of flesh at their fingertips and eyes deprived of meaning. "Help me!" they shouted in scattered little unisons. I leaped from the stage. They crawled behind me with legs kicking like their souls wanted out of their bodies. They trampled over those crawling with jagged steps and sharp high heels, trampling with fists slamming down on each bass drop, each time the lights switched off. I sprinted to the door while all this happened. I reached the door, but Joanna and Monteo clamped down on my shoulders. They flipped me over and threw me into the crowd, still shrieking with hoarse throats, "Help me!" The finger bones clawed at my clothes and teeth bit rhythmically into my shoulders. Beat, bite, beat, bite, beat. Teeth gnawing at my collarbone. Monteo and Joanna contorted their bodies closer, their arms facing the wrong ways and knees bent in inhuman angles. The crowd was dragging me deeper into the club. Over bodies were foam-leaking eyes and blood-dripping mouths. Still, they snapped rhythms with arms to me and back or crawled on split elbows, the flickering lights in greens and white hiding the mob for a second or two. I struggled against broken hands and over blood-wet floors. The constant rhythm of kick through heels and boots caused the others to slip bit by bit. I ripped my arm from the pink-haired punk rocker and she slipped into the blood. The others were struggling forth with dancing and grip. I tripped one behind me who took 3 others down with him. A small wall of humans between me and the red exit sign. I ran to the door. Joanna and Monteo snapped their bodies with upside-down necks. They splayed ripped arms, clawed bodies. I smashed a bouncer chair on Monteo's head and ducked from Joanna's arms. Joanna was never an emotional woman. She accepted her breakups and worked through her setbacks. It was strange to see her crying that night. The people in line outside the club were shambling and staggering. A copy and paste of blood and gore from inside. I hasted down the street away from the club, accidentally running into a man. The collision knocked me to the ground. He was the only one not dancing.
Did he have a notebook?
Yes.
He was bald.
Yes, with pale yellow skin and bright blue eyes. I tried to tell him not to go in there, but he just glared at me. Stepped to the side and strode to the club. The doors glided open and he went in.
Why did he choose to let you see him?
Excuse me?
My apologies. Merely the ramblings of an overstimulated radio host. Please finish your story.
Okay. The police station was an anthill of activity after I told them my story. In the hospital, I almost cried when I saw people from the club in my ward.
Dancing?
Not anymore. I don't know how much morphine they pumped into them for them to stop. I just remember them not moving for the next couple of days. My boyfriend was okay. He was in the room next to me. He doesn't do much DJing these days.
Can't imagine why.
It took him about a year of physical therapy to be okay again, and he's still in therapy. Psychological therapy. Monteo and Joanna didn't make it. There were no music at their funerals. The police investigation confirmed my story. Funny enough, also confirmed I was the only one there that didn't want to be there. But we couldn't release any of this to the reporters. Those who died had bloodstreams similar to being poisoned, so that was just the easiest to go with, I guess.
Why then, when the truth has been hidden by a comfortable lie for this amount of time, have you decided to come forth?
Survivor's guilt? Or something? I don't know. I haven't been really sure of anything since that night. Maybe I hoped you had an explanation.
What waits behind that answer is a burden. You do well to leave it be.
But...
Thank you for spending your time with us, dear listeners. Please spread the word of our little podcast as far as you can. And remember, the next time you dance to music slightly too enchanting, search the dark corners of your life. Who knows what might be lurking out of sight.